Hey everyone, welcome to the Progressive Social Warriors. Okay, so I got another amazing candidate that I want to share with everyone. Her name is Paula Jean Swearengin. She's a Justice Democrat. I'm going to do a series every week. I'm going to put out a video of a progressive candidate. Today's Paula Jean Swearengin. Last week's was Sarah Smith. Now, I'm hoping to God that people can share the video and get Paula Jean's name out there because she needs our help. This video is not monetized, so this is not about making money. This is about getting the word out there because, in my opinion, the most important thing that we're going to have in this fight is trying to get progressive candidates in office. And I spend most of my time trying to make videos to promote these candidates and get their name out because they have a disadvantage with the people they're running against, because the corporate Democrats that they're running against have name recognition already and have the money. I know a lot of people got a little upset with me because I had a litmus test for progressives, but I'm not going to apologize for that. My litmus test is not a very big litmus test. It's just share videos of progressive candidates and try and get their name out there. It's going to take you 2-3 minutes, and I'm sorry, but yeah, we have a litmus test for those asshole corporate Democrats or politicians in general that they need to support Medicare for all, which is a litmus test. Well, my litmus test for progressives is help these candidates get their name out there. And if you're doing that already, bless your heart. But if you're not, this is just a reminder that this is very important and we need to get the message out. We need to help these candidates because no one else is going to do it except for people like me and you to get progressives like Paula Jean Swearengin's name out there. I have all the links of the interviews in the description if you want to watch the full interviews. I just cut out bits and parts of interviews and bits and parts of Paula Jean talking. I put some music in the background to try and make it a little bit more inspiring. I'm trying everything I can, people, and I post these kind of videos, not my just regular videos, but these kind of videos. I post them on Facebook and Reddit and on Twitter, and I hope you guys can do the same. So when I'm talking to people, I'm not really talking so much to the subscribers that watch me. It's more I'm talking to people on Facebook and Reddit and Twitter who I hope can come across this video and share it, because Paula Jean is an unbelievable candidate, and there's no way if you watch her talk that you won't fall in love with her. So I hope you guys can share it, and bless your heart if you do. Anyways, here's Paula Jean, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and thanks everyone.
All right, now on next with us is the legendary Paula Jean Swearengin, running against Joe Manchin in West Virginia. Paula Jean, I don't know what you're doing. You somehow have got this amazing momentum, and I love it. You're going up in the polls. Manchin's underwater. He's under 50% already. Yes,
kidding.
Yes. Okay. And Paula Jean had one of the most successful Reddits of all time, at Reddit AMAs, Ask Me Anythings, and the list goes on and on. So, Paula Jean, welcome back to the Young Turks. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, tell us about the state of your race. Where are we at right now, and what you're doing to take down Manchin?
Well, I think my biggest disadvantage is everybody knows Joe Manchin, and even though I've been a well-known activist throughout the years, he is a very strong incumbent and a well-known senator in West Virginia. So I'm pretty tired right now because I have been going everywhere I can to get my name known. one of my mentors, Ken Heckler, he was a congressman here, and he was Secretary of State, and he was a true public servant for West Virginia. He said he wore out 3 pair of shoes. I've wore out 1 already, and I think I'm probably going to beat him and wear out a little bit more. But that's my only disadvantage. Everywhere I've went, people like me. They're ready for a real public servant. They're ready for the working class, to represent the working class. And most people that I run into, they say they're just going to vote for me because they're tired of Joe Manchin.
Okay, and talking about her momentum, she's already raised over $112,000. If you want to help, jdems.us/Paula-Jean. And yes, we got to get your name out, because unfortunately these incumbents have huge name recognition. That's their #1 advantage. But I think that's why Joe Manchin, who is the more establishment candidate, he is the establishment candidate in West Virginia, is now even flirting with single payer, which previously would have been unimaginable, but apparently he can read polls too. Which now gets us to the interesting news about the state of that race. I think that this has both good news and bad news. Paula Jean Swearengin, who is the Just Democrats candidate, was polled along with Joe Manchin and undecided. Now the race is really, really early. It's happening next year, so the incumbents have a huge advantage with name recognition, and Paula Jean has just gotten started, and so it's hard to build that name recognition. So with that being said, here are the results. About 46% for Joe Manchin, about 8.5% for Paula Jean Swearengin, and then about 38% undecided. Now, the not great news is obvious. She's at 8.5% and he's polling way better. But again, probably the establishment would find that surprising. Like, what, she even registered? And they probably think of like really progressive candidates as, oh, maybe they'll get 1 or 2%. No. She's a real challenger. And even this early on, she's registering. So, but keeping it real, not at that high a number yet. Okay, I remember when Bernie Sanders was not at a high number and then made up 60 points in a primary.
Then I watched my stepfather, thank you, get up every day, cough up a lung, and has had open heart surgery. So I've decided one day that I wasn't really proud of that anymore. Because even though these men had sacrificed themselves for me, I lost them too soon. I've lost so many family members. I feel like Amazing Grace is their family theme song. I'm tired of burying my family for this industry. But then I woke up another day and I started seeing the mountains that I enjoyed the most when I was a little girl. The cleanest water in the world. Suddenly they were being blown up and our creeks run black and orange. People turn on their faucets and their water runs black. That is what's supposed to be powering our nation. But I know that you're impacted too, and I don't think that many people know that this coal was delivered all over the country. Last summer I was in Massachusetts and I was on the shores, and the same chemicals that is poisoning my family and my people was on the shores there too. This nation's energy plan is flawed. It's really flawed because what powers America is powered by the blood of my people. And it's powered by your blood. And it's past time that we stand up for a better future.
So guess what? This guy, Joe Manchin, he's the Democratic senator from West Virginia. He's a Democrat. He's in the leadership of the Democratic Party. He supported pulling out of the Paris climate change deal, just so you know. That's who he is. He considered himself a Democrat. He voted for all of Trump's cabinet picks, okay? Just so that's who he is, all right? He's against everything progressive. He's not anything. He's a Democrat in name only. Like, he's more conservative than a lot of Republicans. But for some reason, the Democrats want him, even though he votes against them. He voted for the Supreme Court guy. This guy, he's the So earlier,
Andy's totally anti-environment every opportunity, and he represents a state that has, some of the most. They're impacted by coal, they're impacted by fracking, they're impacted by all of it. They're taking some of the hardest hits.
And on a call with constituents earlier this year, he said this to them. Manchin invites primary challenge from Sanders supporters because people were concerned that he wasn't representing them. And what he said was, what you ought to do is vote me out. That's what Joe Manchin said. Vote me out. I'm not changing. Find someone else who can beat me and vote me out. He said that to Democrats, progressive Democrats. And activists responded to that remark by asking if it was an invitation or a threat. Sure, it's an invitation. You ought to, Manchin quipped. I can tell that because we're on different pages. Are you a Bernie Sanders guy? Bernie won that state by 15 percentage points. Bernie won West Virginia by 15 percentage points. 55 counties. And when people came to Joe Manchin to say, hey, man, turns out we're pretty progressive here. We just voted 15 percentage points ahead for Bernie, so why don't you start representing us? He said, go pound sand. Try to find somebody to vote me out. So they did. And we had her on this show. Paula Jean Swearengin. We love that name. So she is primarying him. So we are. The Justice Democrats are primarying him. And guess what? Bernie Sanders won that primary last time by 15 percentage points. Hey, tough talk Joe Manchin, you ain't changing? What are you doing? Oh, I'm signing a pledge to campaign against any sitting colleague. I think it's time for all senators to make this pledge. I pledge not to campaign against a sitting colleague. Sounds like someone's afraid of a primary challenge. I pledge to not campaign against any sitting colleague. I think it's time for all senators to make this pledge.
And he should be scared. He should be scared because, Paula Jean, she is very intelligent, she's very bright, and she really has her thumb on the pulse of West Virginia. She's a West Virginian herself. I was very impressed by her when she was on this show. And, if more people were like her, I'd have a lot more faith in the Democratic Party and in our political process in general. So I wish her all the best against him.
Paula Jean Swearengin. Paula Jean, thanks so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Now listen, so I understand you are a Justice Democrat. What does that mean to you, and what made you want to get into this race?
What that means to me is it gives me the opportunity as an ordinary person to actually run. With the support of Justice Democrats in Congress. I was really excited to be able to run against Joe Manchin because here in West Virginia, Democrat or Republican, our leadership seems to cater to industry and not to our communities. I have worked really hard for a long time to fight against the injustice here. And I felt like it was falling on deaf ears because our leadership wasn't paying attention to us. So I decided that, it's time for Appalachia and West Virginia and America to rise up. And so I decided, instead of fighting my government, it was by the people, for the people, and it's time for us to fight back.
And so what, do you have some ideas? You have like some green job ideas, or what are your ideas to replace the coal jobs with?
Well, trillions of dollars have went out of West Virginia for coal, and we've not seen any kickback in our communities for that. Our government's gotten rich and the industry's gotten rich, but we've not seen that. So I think that we need to put that trillions of dollars back into West Virginia and invest in our infrastructure, invest in small business, focus on cash crops, build a sustainable energy economy, grow aerospace, automotive, biotech, agriculture, and invest in renewable energy industries. Somehow there's like this coal worship, and it's unacceptable. We're bid against each other for basic human rights, and that's put food on our tables and water, clean, potable water. It's unimaginable. And a lot of America, I know some other Americans have issues, but yeah, it's people wouldn't believe it unless they come here and seen it.
So let me just ask you about a few things. So would you be for single-payer health care? Because I remember seeing Bernie Sanders went and did a town hall in West Virginia, and it seemed like most of the people there believed in single-payer health care. Is that something you're agreement with?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the Industrial Revolution was built on the back of coal miners, their families, and surrounding communities. We're one of the sickest and poorest states in the nation. And what does it say if we can't offer, you know, these coal miners and the people in these communities that are suffered health care and Americans' health care, and you build up your workforce by having healthier and happier people?
Listen, we wish you all the luck in the world, and we'll certainly we'll help get your message out whenever we can. Paula Jean Swearengin, she's running for Senate. She's primarying Joe Manchin in West Virginia. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a strong progressive. Thanks for lending your voice to the dialogue, and thanks for being a non-corrupted voice. Thanks for not taking corporate PAC money or lobbyist money. Thanks for having an authentic conversation about the problems that Americans are facing. I really want that from the bottom of my heart, Paula. I really say thank you.
I agree with you.
There's not a stream in the southern part of the state that has not been impacted by COVID. Our streams run orange and black. What do you say about the wild and wonderful West Virginia? Some of the cleanest water in the world is gone. It's destroyed. Who's going to clean up the mess when Cole's gone, Senator? What are you trying? And fracking is not acceptable either. We're tired of that.
Because when the coal industry's gone, we're not going to have anything left burning, and it's going to clean up the mess. They have not, the streamline protection was the only water protection they had. They just got rid of it, and it never was enforced anyway. It's like a support to the coal industry. Jim Justice, the biggest living coal baron in West Virginia, is now my Democratic governor. He's mining 3 miles from my house. I watched my my neighbor's children get cancer. I buried my daddy at 54 years old. I've watched my family suffocate. I've buried so many family members in this industry. It feels like everything's always amazing grace. I've cried, I've cried, I've screamed. You need help?
I don't want to overpromise.
It is Paula Jean 2018.com, and I want to mention I am running with brand new Congress and Justice Democrats. We are not corporate funded, we are people funded. I have launched, and in 1 month we have gotten $80,000 for this campaign. We're a year out. We don't need their money. We need votes. We're not a federal PAC. We're a super PAC. We are funded by the people. We are bigger than our government, and it's time for to take it back. And I am not going to line my pocketbooks. I am going to fight for our children.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Paula, for sharing time with us.